Hello there, everybody, and welcome. My name is Tamir Moore, and welcome to the latest episode here on my YouTube channel. Also, I will invite you to follow me on social media as I often post there a lot. You can check out the links to my Twitter and Instagram profiles on this intro screen. And one last quick thing, you can check out my latest video by clicking the card in the upper right corner. And now it is time to start today's featured episode. And now, here is Tamir Moore in the home studio for the NFC Wild Card live to tape filming of What You Need to Know. Hi again, everybody. Welcome to episode 16 of What You Need to Know. I'm your host, Tamir Moore. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are officially in the postseason after our 15 regular season episodes. This is the first of 4 playoff episodes that we'll be shooting over the next couple of weeks. We will be back for the NFC Divisional game next week. We'll have the NFC Championship 2 weekends from now. And then, of course, we'll ultimately have Super Bowl 60, the second Sunday in February. Hope you had a great week. And I just want to say, first of all, I do apologize for being a little tired this week. We've been through a lot on the personal side. My dad, of course, was airlifted to the University of Pennsylvania on Friday. So it's been a very tiresome last couple of days, very sleep deprived, obviously. Rest has been very hard to come by, but my dad is doing better. So I do appreciate all the thoughts and prayers that you sent over the last 5 months. And Dad, obviously, I'm thinking of you. This video today is for you, and I certainly am very happy to hear that things are looking in a positive upward direction. We have the NFC Wild Card Game today between the San Francisco 49ers and the Philadelphia Eagles from a cold and chilly Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. Before we begin the show, of course, a few reminders for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share the channel so you'll be notified of all of our latest content. Make sure you hit the notification bell. We post every single week talking about the NFL. So if you like football, if you're interested in the type of sports content that we deliver on this channel, then definitely this is the place for you. We are currently at 58 subscribers. Every like and subscription helps as we work on continuing our goal to 100 subscribers. So thank you very much for that. Today, we have 3 sections as per usual. We got the reference notes, we'll have the injury report, and then the game capsule. We take a look at this wild card matchup between San Francisco and Philadelphia. The stakes are pretty simple. The winner of this game goes to the divisional round next weekend. The loser goes home and the season comes to an end. The defending Super Bowl champions against the San Francisco team that's been through a rash of injuries, so much adversity, but San Francisco is able to persevere, get 12 wins on the season. We're going to get you set up for Sunday's matchup here at Lincoln Financial Field, right here on this episode of What You Need to Know, being shot from my home studio. Before we begin, though, with the first section, NFL Fox feed music to get us going. All right, let's begin. Section 1, the reference notes, and I am sorry that my voice is probably not the strongest for this episode, so please bear with me on that. My voice seems a lot lower than it typically does, but we're going to power through and get through this. Section 1 of What You Need to Know for this week is the reference notes. 2025 NFC Wild Card Game, the number 6 seed San Francisco 49ers, the number 3 seed in the NFC, the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. The 2025 NFL playoff begins for the San Francisco 49ers, number 6 seed, and the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, the number 3 seed. Here is a quick look at the 2 teams playing in the game. Let's start with San Francisco, comes in with a 12-5 regular season record. Despite a season filled with adversity, San Francisco was able to finish the regular season with a solid record of 12-5. As a result, the 49ers earned the number 6 seed in the NFC playoff field and begin the playoffs with a road game in Philadelphia. Last Saturday, the 49ers lost to Seattle at home by a final score of 13-3. That was a big loss for San Francisco because San Francisco had a chance to get the number 1 seed. They would have won. They lost. And then San Francisco was then relegated to a wild card and ultimately landed in the 6th slot, starting off the postseason road game here in Philadelphia. As for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, they entered the postseason with a record 11-6, back-to-back NFC East championships for the first time in more than 2 decades. Last week, the Commanders beat the Eagles by a final score of 24-17 here at the Link. Of course, Nick Sirianni rested a lot of the starters, and that obviously backfired, right? If the Eagles would have won the game, they would have been the number 2 seed. They could have had 2 home playoff games to start the postseason. They lose. Despite the fact that Chicago lost last week, 19-16 to Detroit, because Chicago beat Philadelphia here at Lincoln Financial Field back in Week 13, Eagles and Bears both finished 11-6. Chicago won the head-to-head tiebreaker. That's why Chicago finished at number 2, and Philadelphia finished at number 3. And the Eagles today begin their pursuit of back-to-back Super Bowl championships in their first Super Bowl in franchise history. Let's take a quick breather here and remind you, this is not the first time that we cover San Francisco and Philadelphia for this series this season. We've covered San Francisco only one time before. That was Week 10 in their NFC West matchup against the LA Rams. If you'd like to learn more about that game, then please click the card in the upper right corner or in the description below. And by the way, we will have the descriptions to all the previous videos that I have mentioned in the description below if they don't appear in the upper right corner. So keep that in mind as we continue. We covered the Eagles 4 times previously. This is the 5th time we've done an Eagles game this season. First time we covered the Eagles was back in Week 2, their Super Bowl 59 rematch against the Kansas City Chiefs out at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. For additional coverage and information on that game, please click card in the upper right corner or in the description below. 2 weeks later, we covered the Eagles-Buccaneers game. Again, card in the upper right corner or in the description below for more thoughts, opinions, and analysis on that game. Then in Week 12, we covered the Eagles game against the Dallas Cowboys down in AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. That was a game in which the Eagles had a 21-0 lead and completely collapsed, gave up the final 24 points in a really heartbreaking loss. For more thoughts about that game, please click the card in the upper right corner or in the description below. And then most recently, we covered the Eagles' Week 17 game at Highmark Stadium against the Buffalo Bills, a game that the Eagles were able to get a win in with a missed 2-point conversion, sealing a 13-12 win for the Birds. For more information about that game, then please hit the card in the upper right corner or in the description below. With that in mind, let us proceed with the injury report. There's a lot of people on the injury report. San Francisco has a laundry list of injuries. The Philadelphia Eagles, they got some notable folks in the injury report as well, so we will talk about that. Let's start with San Francisco. They are the road team, so we'll talk about San Francisco first. Let's talk about the players who are on the injury report, have no injury status whatsoever, and they are expected to play here today. Let's start with 49ers safety Jair Brown dealing with a rib injury. He was a full participant this week, so the rib injury had no bearings whatsoever on him missing practice. He participated all week long. He's expected to play today for San Francisco. Yatir Gross-Matot, 49ers defensive end, been dealing with a knee injury. He was limited in practice on Wednesday and Thursday, so the knee was bothering him. Did not participate on Friday's practice for the 49ers, flew out east for this game, but he's expected to play today. 49ers tight end George Kittle out of Iowa, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, has been dealing with an ankle injury. He was limited in practice on Wednesday and Thursday. Full participant on Friday. He's expected to play today. And, of course, the great Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers running back. Not injury-related. He's just resting. He did not participate on Wednesday. Full participant Thursday, Friday. And Christian McCaffrey is expected to shoot up for San Francisco in this road wildcard playoff game in Philadelphia. There are several 49ers who are questionable for this game. Let's start with wide receiver Jacob Cowling of the 49ers. He's been dealing with a hamstring injury. Full participant this week. He's questionable for this game. 49ers linebacker Luke Gifford has been dealing with a quadricep injury. He was limited in Wednesday's practice, did not participate on Thursday or Friday's practice, questionable for the game. 49ers cornerback Bernardo Green has been dealing with an ankle injury. He was a limited participant on Friday, questionable for this game. 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall has been dealing with a knee and ankle injury. Did not participate this week at all. It's pretty doubtful that he's going to play. He's listed as questionable on the injury report. 49ers defensive end Keon White been dealing with a groin/hamstring injury, did not participate to start the week on Wednesday or Thursday. He did practice in a limited fashion on Friday, questionable for the game. All-Pro left tackle Trent Williams of the 49ers been dealing with a hamstring injury. He did not participate on Wednesday. However, he did participate on Thursday and Friday, and we used to get Trent Williams back, the left tackle, who is really good. He really set the tone for that offensive line for San Francisco, and that'll be huge if they can get Trent Williams back, the big number 71 former Washington player. And finally, 49ers linebacker D. Winters has been dealing with an ankle injury. He did not participate in practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. He is questionable for the game. As for the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, let's look for their injury report right now. Let's start with Eagles tight end Grant Caracatero. He's dealing with an ankle injury. He did not participate on Wednesday. He did participate on Thursday in limited capacity. Full participant on Friday to end the week. He's expected to play today. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter has been dealing with a hip injury. Remember, missed some games toward the end of the season before Jalen Carter came back for the Bills game a couple weeks ago. Limited participant on Wednesday and Thursday. Full participant on Friday, which is obviously a good sign. You're a full participant in the final practice of the week. That typically indicates you're going to play, and that's exactly the case for Jalen Carter this week. Eagles linebacker Nakobe Dean, the fourth-year man out of Georgia, dealing with a hamstring injury. He was limited to start the week. Picked up his practice schedule Thursday, Friday, full participant both days, according to the Eagles. He's expected to play today. Eagles guard Landon Dickerson got some rest this week. Did not participate on Thursday, full participant Friday. He's expected to play. Marcus Epps, Eagles safety, former Raider, who the Eagles brought back. Remember, Marcus was here in 2022 when the Eagles made Super Bowl 57 before losing to Kansas City out in Arizona. Dealing with a concussion. He was limited to start the week. Marcus practiced fully Thursday, Friday, expected to play. Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert and dealing with a knee injury. He was limited on Wednesday and Thursday. Full participant on Friday. No injury status whatsoever. And Eagles linebacker Jalen Phillips, the midseason pickup from the Miami Dolphins. Ankle injury for him. Full participant Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No injury status whatsoever. There are 3 players questionable for this game for the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's start with the whole pro right tackle Lane Johnson. List strength factor in his foot. He got injured week 11. Fred Johnson had been filling in for him. And we just got word right before we came on this show that Lane Johnson is out. Ricky Pearsall is also out for San Francisco. I forgot to mention that. But Ricky Pearsall is out for San Francisco. Lane Johnson's out for Philadelphia again. So that's a big loss for the Eagles, meaning Fred Johnson, number 74, will once again start at right tackle. Eagle thought Lane Johnson was coming back for this game, but Lane Johnson woke up this morning. He did not feel like himself. And as a result, the Eagles decided to list him as inactive. So again, no Lane Johnson that right side. And for the Eagles, offensive line has been an issue. There have been a lot of health issues there. It's been banged up there. You can see why Sirianni decided to rest the starters. Nick Sirianni, the Eagles head coach for the 5th consecutive year. Eagles linebacker Azeez Ojulari, the former Giant, hamstring injury. Full participant in practice this week for the Eagles, questionable for this game. And Brett Tope, one of their backup offensive linemen for Philadelphia, concussion, did not participate Wednesday, Thursday, limited participant on Friday. He is questionable for today's game. All right, let's keep this train rolling with the game capsule. This is my favorite part of the show. Hope it's yours as well, as we really dig into the X's and O's of each of the matches that we do here. And for this week, we are going to be digging into the note for San Francisco and Philadelphia, the 2 teams that are meeting in this NFC Wild Card playoff game. And before we proceed, one quick comment of the game that we saw on Saturday to start off the playoff. The Rams winning in Carolina. What a game that was, right? Matthew Stafford and the Rams were able to absorb the body blows that Carolina threw at them. And the Los Angeles Rams were able to get a win in Carolina, 34-31. It was a crazy game. What a way to start the playoffs. And then last night, Green Bay, Chicago, Packers up 21-3 at halftime. Brandon McManus missed the field goal before the end of the half. It would have put the lead up to 21. And then the Bears, once again, Chicago turned on the stick in the second half. Another implausible comeback. The Bears win 31-27. Jordan Love final pass falls short of the mark. The Bears, once again, find a way to come back late in games. It's pretty crazy to think that the Chicago Bears are down, but they're not out, man. Ben Johnson has changed the culture there. Caleb Williams is that guy. Iceman Caleb does it again. So there's one spot left in the division round. The Seahawks are obviously already through. The Rams and Bears punt their tickets to the final spot. And next week, NFC Divisional Playoff is on the line in this game. So here's the deal. If San Francisco pulls up the upset today, then they will head to Seattle and the Rams will be in Chicago. If the Eagles were to win here, the Eagles will then visit the number 2 seed Chicago Bears, and then the Rams will be just sitting off to Seattle to play the Seahawks instead. So there's a lot on the line in this NFC Wild Card Game. Let's get back to the game capsules. Playoff football awaits us this weekend from the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia as the 49ers come to town for a wild card matchup against the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Despite a season filled with injuries and a lot of misfortune, you lose some of your best players, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. But keep in mind, I'm hearing out the 49er camp that Fred Warner could be back if the San Francisco 49ers make a deep playoff run. To keep a lookout for that. San Francisco was able to persist to a 12-5 regular season finish in number 6 seed in this year's NFC playoff bracket. We have 22 keys for you this week, so let's get into it. Let's start with San Francisco. They finished 6-1 in their final 7 regular season games, including wins over Carolina and Chicago, 2 fellow playoff teams just like the 49ers. The Eagles, meanwhile, after an 8-2 start, a 3-game losing streak, including Jalen Hurts turning the ball over 4 times against the Chargers on Monday Night Football. The Eagles won 3 of their last 4, good finish, including a Week 17 nail-biter win in Buffalo, the game that we had aforementioned earlier in this program. The Eagles starters are ready to go after a bye week last week against the Commanders, in which the majority of the starters got the week off. DeMonte Smith played, got over 1,000 yards again, but now it's the time for the Eagles to defend their Super Bowl championship. Key number 1, Eagles offense 2025. This year, the Eagles offense averaged 22.3 points per game, which is 19th in the NFL. Their third down offense was ranked 24th, so bottom 10 in the league. The Eagles offense was hit or miss for the majority of the season. The team struggled with issues finding themselves from an offensive perspective. Again, Kevin Patullo, first-year OC, heavily embattled. It's been an uphill climb for him. A lot of Philadelphia fans and the media have been criticizing him, and rightfully so, for the fact that the Eagles have a lot of skilled players, that the offense has simply not reached the full potential, and it's simply a regression and a downgrade for what Kellen Moore was able to do with the OC here last year when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And 3 and out, the Eagles have had way too many of those. 28.1%, which is last in the NFL. Not good at all. Key number 2, the San Francisco offense in 2025. They're averaging 25.7 points per game, which is 10th in the NFL. And their third down offense is the best in the league. Late in the season, the 49ers offense began to come alive, scoring points at a pretty high clip. Sorry about that. I thought I was going to burp there. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, began to come alive, San Francisco, and they scored points at a high clip. San Francisco put up 40-plus against Indianapolis in Week 16. Against Chicago in Week 17. They put up 40-plus again. Last week, though, against Seattle, though, the 49ers offense had legitimate struggle. They only put up 3 points. They went 2 of 9 on third down, which is atrocious. They got the Seahawks team that shut San Francisco down. Along with Philly, you can say Seattle is one of the best defenses in the NFL. Key number 3, Eagles defense in 2025. 19.1 points per game, which is 5th in the NFL. Red zone defense is 9th. The Eagles, ever since the Week 9 bye, the Eagles have turned into one of the best defenses in the NFL. Brandon Graham coming out of retirement. The mid-season acquisition of Jalen Phillips from the Dolphins has been huge as well. The Eagles, you can make a legitimate case that this team is one of the best defenses in the league, along with Seattle, the team that San Francisco literally just played in the previous game. Key number 4, Eagles pass defense in 2025. Quarterback rating, 75.4, which is second in the NFL. 14 touchdowns, which is the fewest allowed in the league. One of the best pass defensive units in the NFL. A completion percentage of only 56.8, which is the best in football. Key number 5, as we told you, Ricky Pearsall out for this game. But let's talk about Ricky Pearsall, second-year man out of Florida. He played in 9 games this year. Pearsall collected 528 yards, 4 games with at least 80 yards or more. Missed last week's Seattle game with the knee/ankle issue. He's out for this game, so that's a big loss for San Francisco, one of their offensive weapons. So Brock Purdy and the 49ers are going to have to improvise. They're going to have to adjust with Pearsall out of the lineup. And that takes us into key number 6, 49ers wide receiver Jauan Jennings. Let's look at what Jauan did in 2025. 643 yards. He had 9 receiving touchdowns, which led the team, and he averaged 42.9 yards per game. So Jauan had a really good season for San Francisco, and I expect Jauan Jennings to have an impact in this game to look 15's way a lot. Key number 7, let's talk about George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in football. 49ers T, George Kittle, this season, he had 7 touchdowns, 67 yards in 6 of his last 7 games. So George Kittle has been playing at a pretty good level. Okay, there's the burp. There's the burp. And there's the burp again. Sorry about that. So George Kittle playing at a pretty good level heading into this postseason. Key number 8, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey. We'll talk about Christian McCaffrey in multiple phases. We'll talk about him as a rusher, and then we'll talk about him as a receiver. He's a dual threat back. McCaffrey gets a lot of work, but Christian McCaffrey keeps his body in shape. You understand he's going to get a heavy work role. It's been that way since McCaffrey's gotten here. When San Francisco traded from him for Carolina several seasons ago, Christian McCaffrey is a beloved member of this team, and I expect Christian McCaffrey to once again show dual threat abilities against Philadelphia this week. As a rusher, though, 1,200 yards, 1,202 to be exact, 3.9 yards per carry, and 10 touchdowns. We all know, of course, how important McCaffrey is for this San Francisco ball club. Dangerous as a rusher and as a receiver. Held to under 4 yards per rush in 12 of 17 this year. It's been frustrating for Christian, right? He's had to dig deep and work hard for the 12,000 yards that he got as a runner, but still, 12,000 yards for one of the best running backs in the NFL. That's not too shabby. He'll take that. Last week, though, Christian McCaffrey was held in check. McCaffrey only 8 attempts for 23 yards, 2.9 yards per pop against the Seahawks last week. 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is facing an elite quarterback group for the Eagles in today's NFC Wild Card playoff game. Quinion Mitchell, who's going to the Pro Bowl, 17 passes defense, 62 rating. Fellow cornerback Cooper DeJean, also going to the Pro Bowl this year, 15 passes defended, 80 rating. And Adoree Jackson, first-year Eagle, spent some time with Tennessee and the Giants in the past, 11 passes defended for a rating of 87. The Eagles are holding opposing wide receiver to a 76 rating, 5th lowest, 7 interceptions against this particular position. Philadelphia played well versus the opposing tight ends in 2025, picked 4 passes intended for them, held them to a 72 rating, number 1 defense versus tight ends. Key number 9, Eagles defense 2025 versus running backs, 4.2 yards per carry, average 4.3, so right around average. 102.6 rating with the 20th in the NFL. The Eagles did a lot worse when a running back, went as a receiver. Key number 10, we'll swing back to Christian McCaffrey once again. Let's talk about Christian this time as a receiver. This year, Christian had 102 receptions, which led the team. Christian wrapped up 924 yards as a receiver. And as a receiver, he picked up 7 receiving touchdowns. So again, Christian showing you his prowess from a rushing standpoint and from a receiving standpoint. Key number 11, 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy in 2025. 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 240.8 yards per game, quarterback rating of 100.5. He only took 11 sacks in his 9 start this season. Remember, Mac Jones filled in for basically half the season, but Brock Purdy was on the shelf for a lot of time toward the beginning of the season. Ever since Brock Purdy came back late November, week 11 in Arizona, Brock Purdy has settled right back into things, and Brock Purdy comes into this game feeling pretty good about things. Last week, though, against the Seahawks, 127 yards. He did throw a pick, and he finished this game with a rating of 64.9. Key number 12, Eagles pass rush in 2025, 42 sacks, tied for 12th in the NFL, 20.2% blitz, which is 31st in the NFL. Injury watch, Jalen Carter hip, Jalen Phillips ankle did not play. Both are expected back for this game today. Key number 13, Eagles running back Saquon Barkley in 2025. Obviously, Saquon Barkley, not the explosive runner like he was last year. He picked up 2,000-yard finish as the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year, but he still managed to collect more than 1,000 rushing yards again. He finished this season with 1,140 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a yards per carry average of 4.1. Saquon struggled most of the year to pick up a lot of yards per carry, under 4 yards per carry in 9 of his games this season. That's key 13. Key number 14, San Francisco's rush defense in 2025 versus opposing running backs. 4.5 yards per carry, was the 22nd in the NFL, gave up 97 yards. The Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker last week gave up 74 yards on 4.4 run and a touchdown to Seahawks running back Zach Charbonnet in Week 18. Couple linebacker injuries for San Francisco to keep in mind. Tatum Lafune, who is filled in for Fred Warner after his Week 6 injury against Tampa Bay, out for this game. D. Winters injured last week. He's questionable for this game. Key number 15, Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts, the reigning Super Bowl MVP this season, 25 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 201.5 yards per game, a quarterback rating of 98.5. It was okay seated for Jalen Hurts, but the offense was very inconsistent for Philadelphia this season. 26.3 rush yards per game and 8 rushing touchdowns for Hurts. So 33 touchdowns that Hurts accounted for this season. Key number 16, 49ers defense 2025, 21.8 points per game, which is 13th in the NFL. Red zone defense is 12th in the National Football League. Third down defense is 18. Good finish for this group, though, last week against Seattle, limiting them to just 13 points on the night. Held Sam Darnold, Seahawks quarterback, without a touchdown pass. Held JSN, Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is an AP All-Pro first team member this year, by the way, to just 84 yards, which is a win for Robert Saleh's defense. San Francisco defense struggled against opposing wide receivers with a 105 rate, 15 touchdowns, and 3 takeaways versus that particular grouping. Key number 17, Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown. Despite the noise, despite A.J. Brown being a diva, despite A.J. Brown appearing to look frustrated at times, he posted a 1,000-yard season, 78 receptions. That should be receptions, not yards. Sorry, folks, it's been a really long week. I'm messing up on some of my notes here. 78 yards, 78 receptions. There you go again. 78 receptions, 1,003 yards, 7 touchdowns. Key number 18, Eagles wide receiver Devontae Smith, 1,000-yard season for him also, just like AJ. 77 receptions for 1,008 yards and 4 touchdowns. Key number 19, Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert in 2025, 60 receptions, 39.4 yards per game, pretty good. 11 touchdowns for Dallas, which leads the team. Dallas Goedert did not play last week because of a knee injury. He is expected to play in this game today. Jalen Hurts is not taking more than 2 sacks in his last 8 prior to Sunday's NFC Wild Card Game. Despite the fact the Eagles' offensive line is banged up, Jalen Hurts, though, has done a good job getting the ball out, and the offensive line apparently doing good enough to protect them. Key number 20, 49ers pass rush in 2025, 20 sacks, which is 32nd in the NFL, 26.7 quarterback pressure, which is 31st in the league, 3.3 sack percentage, which is 32nd in the NFL. The 49ers This game come down to the kicking game. They have one of the best kickers in the NFL, Eric Pinheiro. This is key number 21. The 49ers kicker in 2025, Pinheiro hit 28, 29 field goals, 34 for 38 on extra points, which is really good. So just in case San Francisco needs a field goal or PAT, you expect Pinheiro to hit it for the uprights. And the final key for this week, Eagles kicker Jake Elliott. This is key number 22 in 2025. Elliott, 20 for 27 on field goals, 41 for 42 an extra point. Nowhere as good as he was in the seasons before. San Francisco 3-4 versus teams that are 500 and better. Really good on the road, 7-2. So San Francisco comes in here with a ton of confidence that they potentially could shock the Eagles in this wild card game. Eagles 5-3 at home. They're 5-3 this year versus 500 or better football teams. Excuse me, I thought Burt was coming on. Pretty weird. Very, very weird. I do apologize for that brief interruption. So there you have it. That is a preview of this game. Hope you're prepared for what should be a really riveting and exciting football game as the 49ers visit the Eagles in this NFC Wild Card playoff game from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia. A reminder as we wrap things up, again, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of all of our newest content. We post regularly here on YouTube. And as I said before, in the last episode of this program, we will have a special episode coming up that is currently in the works that will be out hopefully the next few weeks that will recap last year and preview some of the exciting things that will be coming your way later on this year. I got you guys. I promise you that video is coming out, a special vid, and I already created a thumbnail on Canva this week for it. And I'll certainly keep you guys in the know in terms of when that episode is coming out. We'll be back with you next week for episode 17 for the NFC Divisional Playoff. We don't know what time, what day our game will be. We will certainly let you know, so please stay tuned to my social medias and to the posts and the community section of YouTube for additional updates throughout the course of the week. That is going to do it for episode 16 of What You Need to Know. Thanks so much for joining us. Until next time, this is Tamir Moore signing off. Peace out, y'all. What's up, guys? It's Tamir Moore. I appreciate you for watching today's video, and I look forward to seeing you next time for another YouTube video. In the meanwhile, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also check out my social media profiles and my YouTube profile, which I provided in this outro screen. So long, everybody, and have a great day.